Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Jeremy Scott Fitness Podcast Radio Show, coming to you on this Wednesday, August the 7th, 2024. Hopefully it finds you staying safe and staying sweaty all at the same time. On today's episode, we are under the gun here. I got to do a quick one for you guys. Talking about too focused on how you look. Are you too focused on how you look? And is that the only thing that's kind of driving you to this pursuit of being quote unquote healthy and happy? And is the pursuit of that actually taking away from you being healthier? Or as we like to say here at Jeremy Scott Fitness, is your fitness stealing your fitness? And only you can answer that. And hopefully today we can paint a picture and help some of you guys if you're struggling with maybe how you look, how your body's changing as you get older, diminishing skills, just different things all surrounding that to help you hopefully have a better framework moving forward to be the healthiest version of yourself. So let me do this. It is like 6:30 in the morning right now, which is way earlier than we typically do the pods. But Heather has an appointment. She's walking her dogs right now. All of the flooring in my house, about 90% of it is completely ripped up. They're coming to start replacing that today. And as you know, anybody who's worked in the trades before, they come kind of when they say they'll come. So I don't know if they'll be here at 7:42 or 8:46 or 9:28. So we're going to find out. I'm going to get as much of this done as I can before I have to deal with that shit because she'll be gone for a while. And I'm playing stay-at-home man today for a little bit. But with that, a couple of housekeeping things before we kick off. One, you guys know Jeremy Scott Fitness app is live. You get a free week on me, jeremyscottfitness.app, links in the show notes. We added the core and cardio trainer this month. I believe next month we are loading the ultimate upper body trainer. The following month, I think it's the lower body version of that. Obviously, all my weekly workouts get dripped in there every single week. And then I'm trying to do this very advanced, I don't know if it's advanced is the right word. Almost anybody could do it. The workouts are very challenging, but you can scale them. It's going to be, my plan is, I'm behind the gun here in the videos, but it'd be October, November, and it would take you to just about Christmas time in December. So it's the longest program we would do. It'd be a premium option in the app. I'm going to make it as cheap as I possibly can, but you're talking like hundreds of videos just in this program, and it would have you doing something every single day. It would be kind of a best of both worlds. BG Kadura and myself kind of married all into like kind of this ultimate total body trainer for people who are looking to kind of just be a badass from head to toe, front to back, and we'll give you all the pieces in between. So that's coming to the app. I'll talk about that more, but right now if you want to get it, jeremyscottfitness.app, you guys get a week for free on me and all the stuff that's currently loaded in there, which is more than you'll ever need for the rest of your life, in my opinion. And you guys already know, shout out to my homies at AG1, the one thing I take every single day and I never miss. If you guys want to get a year's supply of free vitamin D and 5 free travel packs, simply go to drinkag1.com/Jeremy Scott to get hooked up with all that free stuff. Honestly, if you're somebody who doesn't eat enough fruits and vegetables, I would take this. If you're somebody who wants to replace their kind of shitty multivitamin, I would take this. If you want better gut health, one of the main reasons I do take it is the prebiotics, the probiotics, the digestive enzymes for gut support. There's magnesium in there. There's B vitamins. There's vitamin C. There's adaptogens. There's a lot of things, zinc, to help your immune system. But for me, gut health is important. It's 6:30 in the morning. I already woke up, took a dump, feeling empty and light and ready to go for the day. It helps, obviously, with that. And being real, I don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, and this is a nice way to cover the gaps in my nutrition. So if you're interested and you want a 100% free sample, don't feel weird. Just reach out to us. Ask. We're happy to send them to you. We have literally hundreds of packets in our office waiting to be shipped out to you guys who ask for them. If it helps you be healthier, I'm happy to do it. So hit me up for the free samples. And then if you like it, drinkag1.com/Jeremy Scott to get all of the free stuff on top of that. All the other sponsors of the pod are going to be in the show notes here. Our friends at JLab Pro, we get our protein, turmeric, collagen, and krill oils. Usually we have discounts on that. We just connected with my homie Mike Russell, Dr. Mike Russell, who's been the PhD for men's health for a long time. I've known Mike forever. He came out with his own brand of creatine. The vanilla protein he has is amazing if you're looking for a new, amazing tasting vanilla protein powder. And then the coffee, we've been doing his Neuro coffee at our house when we make coffee at home. There's a donut blend that we really do like. And then obviously their creatine is now the creatine that I take because I've never had anybody create one that I personally knew, and that's the partners that we work with. And I've been taking his like clockwork, 5 grams a day every day. If you guys want discounts on any of that stuff, it's in the show notes. JSF is the code for 10% off any of the coffee, any of the protein, any of the creatine, anything on his entire site. The code JSF will get you guys 10% off forever. And if you have questions on the creatine or the coffee specifically, they do K-cups, they do grounds, they do everything in between. We can hook you guys up with all of that stuff. Everything else you guys need from us is in the notes. Our friends at Dry Farms Wine, Sleeve Sold Separately, you name it. I don't have enough time to go through them all today, so that's what you get. So, with that, I did have a post. Did I share it? Or I saved it on my phone the other day. I wanted to give to you guys quick because it stuck out to me, so I thought it would be fun to share here. This one, that one's a little bit too in-depth today. I have a lot of stuff that I'll come across on my phone that I think is beneficial and helpful for you guys, and this is one of them. It was a routine one that Heather had shot me. Here it was. It's just, it's called A Boring Home, and she had sent this to me. And it reads like this. We often complain about the repetitiveness, I can't even talk today, of our days. Day in and day out, the same morning alarm, the same breakfast, the same housework, looking after everyone else, dinner, baths, bed, wake up, wash, rinse, repeat. But do we ever stop and think about how much peace there is in consistency? How lucky we are if every day is similar. No major disasters, no awful surprises. How is there so much value in enjoying home life? To get up and do the same tasks each day and each night is actually a blessing. Laying your head on a pillow at night and thinking of what to cook for dinner the next day is a level of restfulness that some people will never experience their whole lifetime. This world can be cruel and can be unnecessary. So if you have peace of a boring, quote-unquote, home life, you really have won the lottery of life. I thought that was cool, just because I think we're quote-unquote bored, or people are afraid to be bored, and they always need, something new and exciting and crazy, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is something to be said about having the peacefulness of a routine and how lucky you are. You're not living in a war-torn country where, they're doing mass shootings down the street or they're bombing your neighborhood. If you're listening to this, you're probably in a nice community. You live in a nice condo complex, or you have a nice apartment, or you live in a nice home, and you probably have some neighbors that you don't hate, and you probably have some good friends, and you have 18 different subscriptions to watch on TV, and you can drink $7 coffees, and you can listen to some fitness dude in a warehouse ramble on about life and fitness and whatever else. And it is a blessing to have that. That's why I kind of look at relationships in general too. Like when Heather and I talk, or if we argue or fight or whatever it is, I'm a big proponent of, I want to enjoy my Tuesday. I don't want to hate my Wednesday. And I need to be with a partner and a person and have a life where I can enjoy the days that most people bitch about. And the vacations are awesome, and the trips are awesome, and the dinners out with friends are awesome, and the experiences you do, I'm all for them, and they're amazing. I go, but they are a smaller percentage of your life. It's the day-to-day that makes up a bulk of what you do. It's why I'm a big fan of not hating your job, because, the low end, you probably spend 65% of your life like at your job. And why do you want to spend, damn near, 3/4 of your life hating what you do every day? It doesn't make any sense to me. So if you think you have a boring life and a boring home routine, just know it is a blessing in a lot of ways to have that, to have the peace of mind, and to complain about the things we complain about, and to bitch about the things we bitch about. And, I can give you a luxury problem example. There's no floor in my house right now. There's no baseboards. There's no floor. And does it look weird? I guess. And is it ideal? No. But is it a major headache? No. I came home yesterday and I put my bags down in a different spot and I sat in a different place. But I made the same dinner, played with my dogs the same, talked to my wife the same, watched the same shows on TV, took the same shower. Like, it wasn't a big deal. These are luxury problems. And again, I say this a lot in here. It's why we put it on t-shirts. It's still our most popular selling t-shirt. Someone else is praying for the things you take for granted. And I really do believe that's true. And we bitch and we whine and we complain about a lot of stuff. And it's your right to do that. I respect it. But just know there's other people out there who would, their worst day, they would love to have your problems. You know what I'm saying? Like on their absolute best day, your worst day is still better than their best day. And that's real for most of us listening. So food for thought as you guys kind of head into the week here. So with that, right to the nuts and bolts of it. We're talking about being too focused on how you look. Now, this original piece is really about kind of body neutrality, is how they phrase it now. All the new terms coming out in the world. I'm getting so old. I'm getting behind in everything. I don't understand all the acronyms and the slang terms that kids even use. Like Monica's, been working for me for 10 years. I basically have become a man through all of her children. I'm her youngest kid. I met when he was probably 4. Kid's now taller than me, 16. He met me when I had a full head of hair and no hair on my face, and now I got a shaved head and a gray beard. So that lets you know life comes at you quick. But my point is that she has a younger kid, Kobe, which you see on my stories sometimes. I think he's 5 now, going to kindergarten or preschool, whatever it may be. And he'll come in and he'll say words he learns from the brothers and sisters. And he'd be like, "Oh, Jeremy, you're sus." Or he'll say like Riz. And I'm like, I don't know what sus or Riz even means, dude. That's when I know I'm out of the game. It's hard to keep up. So with that, this piece was written about kind of body neutrality to kick off by Dylan Dacosta over at Precision Nutrition. It's a great piece overall. I just took from it what I thought was most important, and this is kind of my take on it. And I'll talk about the body neutral kind of approach and what I think of it and kind of how it works and take the best pieces from it. And that's like anything I say here. Take what you want, leave the rest. Everything's not for you. And I'm just sharing from my perspective and point of view of living through this personally and then watching men, women, children even of all ages, shapes, sizes talk about this. But when we talk about focusing on how you look, I'm not against letting vanity be part of the driver of you being healthier. I just don't think it can be the only thing. Even the most self-absorbed, like vain of us, that can't be what makes it through the duration, because Father Time's undefeated. No matter how good you continue to look, you're gonna get older. Like you just are. No matter the hair coloring or the Botox or the plastic surgery or the amount of steroids or Ozempic or whatever you take, like Father Time is undefeated, and everything you do has an opportunity cost. And when we talk about focusing on how you look, I've done a whole podcast on this before. You guys can go back years ago talking about body dysmorphia. And the reason I say it can't be just about how you look is because if it is, like, you'll never be happy. That's a sliding scale that only moves out of your reach as every day goes on. It's like if you're obsessed with just money, and money is very important. It's a huge part of what we talk about on here. But if you go to your job and it's only about money, you're always going to be unsatisfied because you're always going to think you have to make more. I don't care if it's 50 grand a year to 150 to 250 to 500 to 5 million. If they pay you $5 million a year long enough, eventually you're going to think you're underpaid. I know it sounds crazy, but I talk with people where this is the case. And you just look at yourself and look at your life. If you think about the money you're getting paid today, you're probably like, I never thought I'd get paid that much money, but it's not enough. that's kind of how I look at the chasing vanity forever, because you're always going to want to look better and better and better, and Father Time is going to try to drag you down and down and down. And on the podcast I did years ago talking about my own body dysmorphia, being completely transparent here, I probably didn't like how I looked until I was like 30 years old. I can almost remember like the exact moment. And by the time I was 30, you have to understand that the time that I came up through, I'd already been in muscle and fitness a bunch of times. I had been in bodybuilding.com. I had done full campaigns for Livestrong. I had a Reebok contract that had been on magazine covers multiple times. I was on billboards, like giant billboards, like at the Mr. Olympia and at the Arnold Classic, which is the two biggest kind of bodybuilding shows in the world, where most of these supplement companies, which sponsored me for many years, would, we are the athletes for these companies. And so I'm on this giant billboard. I have a picture of it actually. I'm in this kind of blue tint, and I have no clothes on other than like a pair of shorts, and I'm just kind of leaning over a bench. You can see my abs and shoulders and chest and whatever, and you're all sweaty and pumped up. And even that, when I saw it, I'm like, I could be better. And maybe it was probably 2 weeks after that, I was just in the gym training at this little facility that's down from my house that used to be here. And I remember like after the workout, I'm walking by and you're like full pumped up, like your best version. And I'm like, you know what? You're in pretty good shape, dude. And that I was 30 years old. And it wasn't until like that moment, I'm like, oh, yeah, you're in. Again, mind you, all the things I just mentioned had happened before that. And that's a form of body dysmorphia, clearly. And I think anybody who looks the way that those of us in this side of fitness do, and what I mean by that is like the vanity side of fitness, those of us where our brand kind of is us in this kind of shirtless, mostly naked way of attracting people into our products and programs, we have obviously body dysmorphia to some degree. Now, I think as we've gotten older, and I'm speaking for my circle of people, the BG Kadors, the Hannah Edens, the Alexia Clarks, we've gotten better with it. But we joke in the circle. It's like we hide our feelings inside our muscles. That's why we have them. It's the walls you build up to protect you also kind of imprison you in a way. And I was always chasing numbers on the scale, like many of you did for years. I played college sports at 6'2", probably 175 pounds soaking wet. By the end of the season, I was probably like, just under 170 pounds. So I'm living light. And I would always try to get heavier during the off season. And then as my career came to an end at about 22 years old, I need to be 185. I need to be 195. And then it was 205. And then it was 215. And then it was 225. And I think the heaviest I ever was like 237 pounds with a giant moon face and like slightly watery abs, but they really weren't there because I was carrying probably at that time 10, 11, 12, 13% body fat, give or take, at 237, eating 5 times a day, feeling like a bloated bag of shit, thinking I'm just not big enough yet. And I'm chasing something that wasn't real. I was chasing a look that I could never attain, because again, at the time, and I'm 6'2". My wingspan is just over 6'4", almost to damn near 6'5". So I have longer limbs, and I have more of that kind of, sprinter, basketball type body. I've put on the size over the years, but I would look at like a Jay Cutler or a Dexter or an Arnold or something, like I want to look like that. And then I go and meet, Jay Cutler, the bodybuilder, and like a Dexter, and we work in these same circles for years. So I'd be around them multiple times per year, and I'm like, oh, these guys are 5'9". These guys are 5'8". I'm 6'2". I've been dunking a basketball since I was 16. These guys couldn't get off the earth to save their life. They're always going to be aesthetically more of that dense, thick, jacked version. Not to mention, the years of training, genetics, the drugs, and those things. And so I was chasing something that wasn't reality for me. And I share all that because I think a lot of people, you're chasing unrealistic ideals, and you're comparing to your friends and your neighbor and your girlfriend and your coworkers and other people. And that's just it's not healthy, and it's not reality. You can only be the best version of who you are. And you can only be whatever, your genetics allow, whether that's, your parents and God and the universe and unicorn tears and how you eat, how you train, the amount of time you've trained, how much stress is in your life, how much sleep can you get, what drugs are or aren't you taking. All of those things factor into how you look. And that brings me to the body neutrality topic. And what that really means is adopting more of a body neutral approach. And that's this kind of tearing away from only focusing on what you look like. You have to ask yourself the questions, do you want your self-worth to be defined by your external appearance only? And the answer is probably no. Do you want to continue this cycle and potentially pass up, I guess put it this way. If you're somebody who, and I find dudes do this for sure. I think women are worse. And I say that because I'm married to one. I've dated many. And my mother is one. My sister is one. And I work with a good percentage of them. Do you want to pass that cycle of body comparison to like your future kids or to your nieces and to your nephews? You know what I'm saying? Like when you talk like that, like, oh, I'm too fat, I need to be skinnier, or this is gross, I have cellulite here, my stomach is too this. Like when you say those things and you're saying them consistently and other people are hearing you, they absorb that, especially if they're younger. They're like a sponge. They just suck everything up that you say, both good and bad. That's why I always talk about in here more is caught than taught. Even though you're not teaching them that, they're catching those things when you say them. And it leads to an unhealthy life. And then the downward spiral just continues on decade after decade after decade. And you have to ask yourself, like, what would your life look like if you fought to value yourself more for what you do and who you are opposed to just what you look like? And I think I'm actually wearing the shirt today. Their shirts we have here at Jeremy Scott Fitness, there it says, if the whole world was blind, how many people would you impress? And I'm a fitness guy saying that, who makes, who's made a great living, built off of my own personal body, having little to no clothes on. And these are questions I think you have to ask yourself, and the answers aren't going to be immediately clear. But if you're only focused on the aesthetics and what you look like, I feel like you're on a hamster wheel over and over and over, because you're only focused on just what you look like. And the whole body neutrality thing is kind of like a mindset that encourages you to value how your body functions and feels over just how it looks. And that's why when we talk here, the order of which we say it, my goal is for people to, one, move better. That's the number one, is just get your body to move better and not in dysfunction. If your body can move better, it will start to feel better. And when you move better and feel better, the byproduct of those two things married together is overall more activity, and you're going to look better because of it. That's how it works. It's not look better, then hopefully, it moves better, and then when we pray it feels better. I don't think that's a healthy way to go about it, and I don't think it's a way you can go about it for the next 30, 40 years. And I understand your body is your business card. I believe that. It's, I wrote the note. I didn't make that many notes on this episode. I wrote the notes in here somewhere, because I do believe that's important. And I do think it's the number one thing we kind of, discriminate on the most in the world is what people look like. And some people might disagree with me on that, but the Brad Pitts of the world, we're probably not going to be working at Wells Fargo. Sorry, Brad. Like, I'm not saying you're not a great actor, because I think you are, but you got a gift, man. Like, you're a beautiful dude. Like, there's something to it. Like, the Scarlett Johanssons of the world, we're probably not going to be waitresses, at Denny's. No offense, great actress, but you got a gift, man. Like, you aesthetically just look a certain way. And it's what we do. We judge people based off how they look. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but people do it with cars. People do it with houses. You don't know what's inside. You know what's behind it. You don't know the price they paid to be there, to get there, to stay there. However, it's what we do. And I don't think it's the healthiest practice, but I don't have a way to change it. But for you personally, if you're listening, I think the mindset of you valuing how your body functions, if you're athletic, if you're strong, if you can hike, if you can play with your kids, if you can swim, if you can do the things you want to do, and you don't feel like shit every day and you're not in chronic pain, and you're not so skinny and gaunt and sucked in and drawn in, you don't have energy to do daily life stuff, and you're not so big and obese and bulky and run down that you can't actually go out and move. That's the key. The key is to focus on how you feel, focus on how you move, and then we can talk about how we look. That perspective helps people develop this kind of, self-acceptance while still working to care for yourself in ways that promote overall health. And what does that look like in practice? The big thing, you exercise and you eat nutritiously, not because it only makes you look a certain way, but it makes you feel good on top of that. And now the nice thing is those things work together. If you exercise and eat right because you want to feel good, the byproduct is you'll look a certain way. I say this a lot on here. I don't only eat this way because I want to look a certain way. I don't want to feel like shit. I don't want to feel like I have no energy, so I have to eat food. I don't want to feel like I'm bloated and disgusting and constipated, and I don't want to be hungover. I don't do that because I know it's going to make me look like shit. I do that because it's going to make me feel good. And if you do that consistently enough, you will start to look the way you want. And you also understand you can still have treats. Life is too short, man, to not have pizza and a beer if that's what you want to do. But you don't eat them in excess every single day because they don't make you feel your best physically. You can't perform the way you want to perform. You'll have a food coma and a food baby, and you'll be hungover. That's why you do it. So that's what we talk about. That's the practice of it. Is you can still enjoy things and not be so paranoid. If I eat this, everything's going to be lost. And you wear clothes and celebrate your appearance in ways that make you feel authentic. And how you display yourself isn't the foundation of your self-worth. And it's also understanding you don't always love all aspects of your body, but you don't let that stop you from enjoying your life and improving your appearance. You understand? I'll touch on that in a second because it's a kind of a deeper one that I think is important here. And understand when we talk about accepting where you're at, you should care what you look like. We all take pride in our appearance. It's why we brush our hair and, people put on makeup and then wear certain clothes because they think it looks okay or it looks acceptable or they think they look good. But what you have to do is broaden your self-concept to include in your values. It's not just what we look like. You're much more than just your physical appearance. You understand what I'm saying here? Even if you're heavier, you shouldn't neglect isolating yourself from the world in certain stances. Or if you're way too skinny or you don't think you're muscular enough, because you get to this kind of weird place where people won't go to a party because they don't feel confident in their own skin. They won't go to a group exercise class. They won't go to the pool. They won't take pictures on vacation. They won't take pictures next to certain friends, because they think I'll do that when I lose weight, or I'll do that when I get more muscular, or I'll do that when I'm in better shape. And a lot of people listening to this have uttered that to themselves more times than they can count. What you have to do is realize that you deserve to take those pictures and go to those parties and hang out with your friends and do those things, no matter what you look like, So I do think everybody can kind of benefit from this, having this approach. And again, if you really hate where you're at, you can fucking change it too. You can work to change it every single day, but still live your life when you're in this quote unquote transformation phase. Don't not go to events, or don't not wear certain things you want to wear, or don't not take pictures with people because you're having this overly deep anxiety about what you look like. Again, the whole thing of like appreciating your body and the neutrality topic isn't just for people in larger or kind of otherwise like marginal bodies. It's helpful for people with, I guess what you would call like quote unquote ideal bodies. If you think I'm in shape for a 41-year-old dude, um, people who are in this world struggle with it too. Um, Friends of mine who have been, on billboards and magazine covers and the poster childs for brands have had some of the most anxiety and deepest body dysmorphia of anybody. I would argue probably even more so than the person who's 60 pounds overweight, especially if you're living in kind of the public eye and the public platform. And I think that's just on that topic here. If you're somebody who isn't in good shape or you've worked really hard to get in great shape, the people with those bodies that the world kind of, and I just say I'm generalizing here, but tends to kind of idolize, sometimes those people aren't living the life that they want to live either, because they have to exhaust their energy, their time, the amount of dedication it takes to maintain that image of perfection. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes those people are often the most unhappiest and the most self-conscious because they put in all this work and they've died, 10 times to get there, and they got to die 10 more times to stay there. That's why it's not for everybody. It's why you have to really love it, and you have to love it for the right reasons, in my opinion. And for everybody, it's tough for everyone, dude. Like I've never met anybody who's so vain and so self-absorbed that they love every single thing about their body all the time from head to toe. Whether it's their feet or their hands or their hair or their glutes or their calves or their quads or their chest or their biceps, whatever it may be. Everybody's got something. And in practice, you may love certain parts of your body, but also hate other parts. And I think that's totally normal. It's part of life. For example, you might see your stomach and feel like you're ashamed because it's not, what you want to see. And that, feeling is uncomfortable. But it's not right and it's not wrong. It's how you feel. But what you don't want to do is have that feeling dictate your behavior. Like seeing your stomach and saying things like, oh, I'm not going to go out tonight, or I'm not going to go to the, on my family's beach vacation, or, my diet starts tomorrow, or I got to be thinner, or I'm too fat. Like that negative self-talk doesn't do you any good. You can get so fed up that you make a fucking change, and I'm a fan of that. But don't hate yourself for where you're at, especially if you're on the journey. If you're on chapter 3, don't beat yourself up because you're not on chapter 13. You got to go through the fucking chapters. You got to go through the steps, man. And when I talk about this, I'm not saying don't chase aesthetic goals. I think those are still important. It's just not the only thing, right? Like I think money's super important in your career. If you make a lot of fucking money, man, it's way better than making a little money. It just is. It buys you freedom. It buys you kind of this fuck you mentality. It does a lot of positive things for you. It just can't be the only thing. That's the way I feel about just chasing vanity and fitness. I think they're very much mirrored together. And some people worry if they kind of adopt this approach to health and fitness, like, oh, I'm okay with my body where I'm at. It means that they kind of relinquish the desire for physical change. But that's not true. You can do both, and you should do both. And again, like I mentioned before, your body is your business card. Whether it's right or wrong, it's how it is. And when I say that, I know people want to pretend like it's not, but dude, I always give the example of like you see a yacht with a dude on it. Like there's a dude on a yacht, maybe there's two dudes, and then they're two dudes, they're 56 years old, they're both a little bit, slightly overweight, out of shape, bald, maybe get receding hairlines, and there's 10, super insanely attractive supermodel like 28-year-olds on that yacht. And this reality, guys, this is just things that happen every day. What did those girls do to get on that yacht? They just walked on there. Super attractive, they just walked on there. And the dudes had to die 1 million times and basically become billionaires to get on there. That's when I talk about like the things we discriminate on the most. It's like that's your body is your business card type shit. Like that's the thing that where it's you're never going to escape it. I understand it's part of reality. There's no way to really fix it other than fix the way that you look at it and you view it. And that's the thing where if you accept it from this standpoint, it kind of advocates for health over just aesthetically what we look like. Like having this kind of approach doesn't mean your body can't change. In fact, it means it should change just from a healthy standpoint, from, in my opinion, the inside out versus the outside in. A lot of people focus on the fitness piece just from the outside first and then worry about the inside. I think it's what's going to give you the legs to go the distance, what's going to be a sustainable lifestyle is focusing on being internally healthy. And the byproduct is the outside starts to look the way you want. So it doesn't mean when I talk this way, like, okay, have your body move better and feel better and eat foods that make you feel good and don't focus so much on how you look like. I'm not saying you shouldn't still want your body to change. It just means your self-worth isn't dependent on that change. And your whole life isn't consumed by the pursuit of this physique goal. Again, if you love it and you're happy, respect, then do it every day. If you like to train for 4 hours a day and your body can handle it, do it. If you like to stretch for 3 hours a day because it makes you feel good, do it. If you want to eat a certain way because it makes you look this way and you feel this way, that's awesome. Do that shit. I just don't think your whole life should be consumed by the pursuit of just a physical goal. I think the physique goal is very important, but there is other things that come with that. And if you've been starving yourself or over-exercising to the point of burnout, hopefully this encourages you to kind of disengage with those super extreme activities and not have the pursuit just be physique specific, but health specific. And then the physique thing, it can be right next to it, sure, but don't let it be the main driver. If you're overeating, if you're avoiding exercise because you can't stand your body and you hate how you look and you hate everything about it, hopefully these principles kind of help you get a sense of better self-care and self-love and help you choose foods and movement that support your body, regardless of what shape it's in today. And knowing that if you do the right things consistently over time, it will change. It has no option to. It's going to change. So in a sense, not focusing too much on how you look like each and every day can have this kind of balancing effect on your health and fitness behaviors. And in my opinion, if you do this, focus on better mobility, focus on being stronger, focus on eating healthy foods inside proper macro ranges and calorie ranges. If you do that, it's not going to take away from you physically in terms of how you look. If you apply it correctly, it's only going to help you. And there is nothing inherently wrong with wanting to be completely shredded and have six-pack abs or be more muscular or whatever the goal is. It doesn't reject, like appreciating where you're at today doesn't reject, physical and aesthetic changes. It just makes sure it's not a detriment to your overall mental, emotional, social, physical, and kind of existential health. That's why I say don't let your fitness steal your fitness. Don't be so deprived and so depleted you can't go hang out with your friends at a dinner because it doesn't fit your plan. If you're doing something for a show or whatever, that's a small window of time. That's short-term sacrifice for something you're doing. It's no different than training for an Ironman or whatever it may be. But if for the last 10 years of your lives, like you wouldn't go to dinner with friends, or you wouldn't go to a family function, or you wouldn't go to the beach, or you wouldn't do something because of your physical body, I think then your fitness is stealing your fitness. Looking how you want to look, being strong, ripped, toned, lean, muscular, insert whatever term you want to use, those things should enhance your overall well-being and mental health and emotional health and physical health. It shouldn't take away from it. So the couple quick strategies I'll give you guys before we go here. One, just appreciate where you're at and don't get in the mirror after you get out of the shower or when you're at the gym and stare at your body and the 3 or 4 parts you hate and squeeze it. And everybody's done this. They look at their stomach or their thighs or their butt or whatever, and they squeeze it and they try to find cellulite and they squish and they turn and they move to try to create rolls and and do these things, and they stare at it and they pinch it and they touch it. And they do that every time they get out of the shower or they get in the mirror, and it gives themselves a fucking complex. And the longer you do it, the worse it gets. Please stop doing that shit. It does no good. It's not going to change. You know what I mean? Like, if you got a dent in your car, you don't got to look at it 7 times in a day. The dent is still there. Like, if you got a little bit of a gut, you got a little bit of a gut. If you got some cellulite, you got some cellulite. You know, if your biceps were 16 inches this morning, after they get pumped up and deflate back down, they're still 16 inches when you go to bed. So just let things be where they are. And understand, number one, do things you love, man. Like, do things you love physically. Like, stop waiting to achieve your ideal body in order to do things and enjoy your life. Start doing more shit that you want to do and more shit that you love now and today. I say this a lot, man. You'll never have more time in your life than you do right now. You never will. Do not waste it waiting for your ideal body to show up, whatever that even means. Because again, it's not a thing. It's like saying you're my dream house or my forever house. It's like, it's not really a thing, man. Like, dreams change. And we don't know how long forever is. And my ideal body at 23 is not the same as my ideal body at 41. It's just not. So you got to start with something easy. And stop yourself from doing these behaviors. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to start just living your life and not, quote unquote, waiting till you get there. Because most of your life is then waiting till you get there. It's what we talk about here. The journey is the destination, my friends. Appreciate if you're not strong today like you want to be, or if you don't look the way you want to look, like and be aware of it. Don't hide from it. And then you can look back on it like, man, that's where I was. Fuck. I'm so happy to be here today. It can be a small thing. Like, find one thing like you've deprived yourself from in the past and just do it. Even if it's a small dose, regardless of how you feel. You got to reteach yourself that you don't need to be a certain body shape or size to enjoy your life right now. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I know for people, it's like, well, I don't want to wear certain things, or I don't want to, go certain places, or I don't want to compete in certain, stuff because I look this way and whatever. Like, I'm not saying you have to go, if you're 100 pounds overweight, go on stage and do a bodybuilding show. It's not what I'm saying. But start doing the little things and reteaching yourself that you don't need to be in a certain shape or a certain size to enjoy things in your life, because I don't believe that's true. It should hold you back, man. And what I'll say is, you're always your own worst critic, and you're always harder on yourself than the world and society would ever be. And I hate to see that. And I think dudes do it for sure. Dudes are a little bit more out of touch with reality. A lot of guys I meet, some of them think that they're like Al Bundy. They threw 4 touchdowns in a high school football game, and they still think they're the shit, or they think in high school they were like the greatest thing ever. And the reality is they weren't, but that's what they remember that. And they think of themselves kind of better than they are physically. And they think of themselves like, I could tell a lot of stories on here. I've had people work with me on a lot of different things. And and I'm not saying I'm the greatest thing ever in terms of how a body looks. I work really hard. I got good genetics. I eat the same way all the time. I've given my life to this. I've worked with the biggest brands, and I'd like to think it's because of my personality, but let's be real here. It's not. So I look a certain way, and I've worked with people who they're like, well, Jeremy, I want to be in your kind of shape. Like, what if I work hard for the next 6 months? And you might as well just spit in my face when you say that. Like, the audacity to think like you could do that in 6 months. It's just taken this insane amount of time to get here and dedication. And the point of me sharing that is not to say I'm the world's greatest thing. I go, but for that person, dude, you don't have to be in my shape to do anything you're going to do in your life. If you're selling insurance, you're a realtor, you're a financial advisor, you don't have to do this. If you want to, it's awesome, but it's not required or necessary. You can enjoy your life right now and just be in healthy, awesome, amazing shape. And I think it holds a lot of people back. And I'll talk on the other end. That's for dudes. Dudes typically are kind of okay with it. The females I work with, it's a lot tougher road. And I don't think Heather will even listen to this episode, so I can talk about her on here. And if she does, love you, Heather. And she'll speak to this too. She is her own worst critic by far. She's been harder on herself than anyone in the world would ever be. Like, you guys obviously know my wife. Beautiful, like way more attractive than me, obviously. I just happen to be in great shape, which I can work to do. But when you look at her face and then you look at my face, you're like, oh, this is a beautiful woman, like insanely attractive. And then there's this, kind of Bruce Willis lookalike. So that's where we're at. And I share that for the fact of I've been to photo shoots. I've made her come to photo shoots with me. Not make her. She wanted to do it, and I knew she would appreciate it once it was done. So I can't make her do anything. I've tried. It doesn't go well. But I wanted her to do it, and she wanted to do it. And I remember going to these photo shoots with her, and she's just so hard on herself. Like, I look at my legs, or look at my arms, look at my stomach, and she's just beating herself up, and she just looks amazing, but can physically hike at an insane pace, can run these, 10, 15-mile races she does, sprint through the mountains, snowboard, water ski, all the things that she does that I don't do. So she has all the pieces, but then still I'm hearing her talk about herself a certain way, like, well, I don't know if I can wear that or do that. And if she's doing it, and then I go to work and I hear these clients of mine these women are in amazing shape and they're doing it, I'm like, oh, this is a real problem for almost everybody. And I share that because if you're somebody who's doing that, just know almost everybody has done it at some point in time in their life. And if you're doing it today, you don't have to. You got to start reteaching yourself that you can do so many things, regardless of what shape or size you are today. You're allowed to enjoy your life. And you can work to change the things you don't like, but do it from a healthy standpoint. And don't do it just from a vanity-driven standpoint. And I think Heather, if she was on here, she would be like, yeah, you know what, I was way too hard on myself. I was in great shape. I worked really hard. I should have appreciated it. And we all should. You got to enjoy the journey, man. You can't just, I'll be happy when isn't a fucking thing. I'll be happy when. Again, dude, I could give you 1,000 examples in my own life. I'll be happy when I get a sponsorship from a supplement company. Happened. Still wasn't happy. I'll be happy when, I'm on magazine covers. Still wasn't happy. I'll be happy when I'm on billboards. I'll be happy when I pay off my house. I'll be happy when I become a millionaire. I'll be happy when I have 6-pack abs. Boom, boom, boom. Happiness is a choice, man. And you can choose to be happy on the journey as you work towards getting there. I really do believe that. I think it's a healthier way to live life. I think it's a healthy way to go about your body and basically go about anything and everything for that matter. The next thing I'll tell you guys really quick to help with this, if you're somebody who struggles with this, create an environment that allows you to be successful. I talk about this in business a lot. In my life in general, I've built a world and an ecosystem and an environment that allows me to be successful. I get to work hard when I want to work hard. I can slow things down when I want to slow things down. I can wear what I want. I can do what I want. I can say what I want. I, bought a space to create the way that I want to create it. I can have a community and a culture that is cool with me swearing and talking and doing the things that I do so I can be myself. It's way harder for me to be unsuccessful in this environment than any other, for that matter. If I was working in corporate America and you're putting handcuffs on me and you're muzzling me and I can't say things and do things the way that I want and I have to report here at this time, I wouldn't be anywhere near as successful. And I think that's the same way you have to approach your physical body in the way that you think about it. You got to take control of the parts of your environment that you can control and that kind of feed this body obsessed, wolf, if you will. You're so driven on image. You got to starve the beast, right? Whenever you can. You can't feed it. It's like It's like, why you don't go on Google and research any diagnosis or disease you have. And I'm saying being educated is fine, but playing Dr. Google and going on fucking Reddit forums and going down these, oh, well, I read this and my foot hurts, so they probably have to amputate it. It's like, if you read enough of that shit, like Dr. Google, you give yourself so much anxiety, you be convinced you have everything. I think that's the same way when you do this, when you're on social media. For example, it can make you crazy, man. It can make you think everybody is beautiful and ripped and shredded and everyone's in the best shape and everybody looks young and nobody has wrinkles and nobody is broke and it's all fucking bullshit, dude. I've shared this on here many times before. Heather and I have been places, like by famous landmarks at different parts of the world where we were 5 minutes before we were arguing with each other, where she probably wanted to kick me off the fucking cliff we're about to take a picture on. And I probably wanted to Dexter her, in the hotel room afterwards. But we were here at this place and we have to take this picture and we got to make it look good because we're probably never going to come back here again. And we were there. Eventually we had a good time. But in that moment, we wanted to fucking strangle each other. That's what social media is. Especially with fitness, dude. With all first of all, the AI shit, Photoshop, lighting. Dude, so much of it is horse shit. And if you're watching that all day and you're comparing your normal Wednesday, dad bod or mom bod, or like you work at the bank and, it's where you live is not sunny, so you're not tan and you ate a little bit too much this weekend on your family trip and you're just feeling, kind of off or bloated or pale and lethargic. And then you're comparing to like the 7 people on social media you follow who all fucking look like, they do what I do for a living, and we're taking, these sweaty pictures pumped up after just working out with perfect lighting, and you're comparing yourself to that. Of course you're going to feel like shit. That's fucking nonsense. You can't do that. Like, it'd be like me every day, like, oh, my business is super successful. And then I look at like Warren Buffett. I'm like, well, fuck. This dude's got billions of dollars with a B. I don't even have $1 billion. I'm a loser. That's not healthy to do. If you're somebody who does that, you got to unfollow social media accounts that prey on your insecurity. And especially if they make you feel a certain way and if they promote unrealistic ideals, don't follow them. Follow more accounts that are more, again, if it helps you, more kind of in that neutral range in terms of body and stuff. But even if it's people who look a certain way, the ones that inspire you, and they inspire other aspects of your personality in your life and not just focused on what you look like. I hope when you guys watch my stuff, you don't feel like that. Like, I got to look like that. I'm like, I hope I say on here enough, you don't want to live my life. You don't want to do what I do. You don't want to eat the way that I eat. You don't want to sleep the way that I sleep. You don't do what I do for a living. It wouldn't make you happy, and it's not necessary. I don't share these things, shirtless to be like, look like this. And I don't do it to be a douche, man. I do it because it draws eyeballs, and it's how we make fucking money. It's just the reality of life. Like, I don't like it any more than you do, but the sex part of it sells, man. It really does. And if I'm shirtless and sweaty and tan and it looks a certain way and I get more people to stop and click and like and subscribe and scroll, that's how I've provided this amazing life for my family. That's why the fuck I do it. I do not do it to make you feel a certain way. I would never want that to be my intention. I share the exercises. That's what I'm sharing. Do that. I look the way that I look because I do these things. I do the exercises. I eat the food. I sleep this way. Genetically, this is where I am. I've done it for 25 years. But what I want you to take from it is the actual workout. Take the exercise and put it into your own life. Take the mobility drill and put it into your own life. Take the food, and if you like the food, eat it and put it into your own life. I don't do it to create unrealistic ideals and expectations. That's not what I'm trying to get you to do. I want you to look the best version of what you want to look like while living the type of life you want to live with your friends and your family and your career, eating and drinking the things that you want to like in the context of you being healthy. The next thing, I do think you got to ditch the scale. You want to get in it once a week? That's fine. I wouldn't do any more than that. And if you can't do that, get rid of the fucking scale and don't use it. It's just a number, and it's a number that shows up. Nobody cares if I weigh 204 pounds today, 208 pounds, or 199 pounds. No one gives a fuck. For the record, the other day, I weighed 206 pounds. I've been eating the same way every single day for probably the last 3 months, and I almost weigh 206 pounds every single day. and nobody gives a shit and nobody cares. It means nothing. And if you don't care what I weigh, I can promise you nobody cares what you weigh. If you're 400 pounds, sure, you have weight to lose. But outside of that, just focus on being healthy. And again, set boundaries, man, around your body talk. Same way you do with environments. Like, don't hang out with people who are super obsessed with just what they look like. It's dumb. Like, don't talk about yourself like, oh, I'm too fat. Oh, I'm so gross. I used to be this. I used to be that. It doesn't matter what you used to be. You are what you are today based on the decisions you made, the things that have happened to you in your life, stress, genetics, kids, you name it. You might not be perfectly happy with it. It might not be ideal, but you can work to change it. I can tell you this, talking shit about yourself doesn't change it, doesn't make it better. It actually only makes it worse. And you just put yourself deeper into a hole. And I don't want any of you guys to do that. I really don't. It's not worth it. Strive for improvement, every day with how you eat, with how you sleep, with, not abusing drugs and alcohol. Don't try to be perfect because nobody is. I'm not perfect. Nobody can be ever. You just have to figure out what type of lifestyle do you want to live? What makes you the healthiest, for one? What makes you the happiest, number two? And then number three, how do you look after you check those first two boxes? Some people want to drink booze every day. If you feel good doing that and you're super happy doing that, that's fine. If you're doing that every day and you don't like how you look, you don't like how you move, you don't like how you feel, then you can make the changes. That's where all this comes from. The craziest thing is everybody gets so caught up in just what they look like. And this is coming from me, you guys. It's obviously important to me. It's my entire career was built off of it. Now it's not my entire career now, but it's how I built this life. So I'm very thankful for it. I'm very appreciative of it. I like to look the way that I like to look. I'm no different than you. I like to move and still be athletic. I'm 41 years old and I can still dunk a basketball. I can still run a mile in under 6 minutes. I can still, lift heavy weights for a dude my age. For some reason, it's important to me and I like it. It's not the only thing, and how I look's not the only thing. The biggest thing is, how do I feel? I have to be able to feel good. I fucking hate feeling bad more than anything else. I hate when internally I don't feel good. I hate when my joints hurt. I don't like being stiff and tight. I don't like being injured. It bothers me. So I try to do things like, let me eat these foods that are going to help with inflammation and help with my gut and help with my brain because I'm a dummy and Lord knows I need it. Shout out to Neuro Coffee. If you guys want it, we got a discount for you. JSF in the show notes. All these things. That's why I do the things that I do. And in the world we live in now, it's so much like people are just afraid to age. And I'm not saying you have to just go out and let your hair go gray. If you don't want to go gray, you can dye it. That's fine. There's nothing against that. But just know, you're to the age where your hair gets gray or it gets thinner or you just completely go bald, Shout out to Bruce Willis. That if that's where you're at, then that's where you're at. And your skin, you might have some cellulite as time goes on, and it might be wrinklier. It's going to be. And it might sag a little bit different, and things might not bounce back as fast as they bounce back. That's okay. Don't hate yourself. You can change the things you want to change, and just know aging is it's a gift, man. It really is. There's a lot of people who aren't as lucky as you. They never made it to 37, 45, 52, 61, and they're not going to. It's a gift that you have. And I guess the takeaway at the end of all this is, don't waste your life hating where you're at today, because I can almost promise you 10, 15 years from now, you'll look back and be like, man, I wish I was in that shape I hated on so much. I wish I could go back and slap that version of me in the face because I was so obsessed about these 3 wrinkles and now I have 13 wrinkles. And I was so obsessed about this part of my stomach. Man, I would love to have that quote unquote problem back. It's someone else is praying for the things you take for granted. And I think that applies to your future self versus your former self in a lot of ways. It's, the phrase, youth is wasted on the young. And you see these young girls nowadays, 22, 3 years old, getting a shit ton of Botox and filler in their face. And no judgment here, but dude, baby girl, you don't need Botox and lip filler when you're fucking 22 and 23. What are you, out of your mind? Like, just, you're already a baby. You already got a baby face. Like, just let it roll, dude. Like, appreciate where you're at. And as time goes on, if you got to really do something, then do something. It's the same way I think about dudes. Like, they want to rush every process. I'm 22 years old. I want to look like, you, Jeremy. I'm like, well, first of all, enjoy your skin, bro, because it's going to be 40-year-old skin before you know it. Enjoy your hairline, because that's going to be the same too. I go, but understand, dude, I died for this a million times. I've been training for 20 years. Appreciate yourself where you're at. This is the chapter you're on in the journey. Just enjoy being there. And I say that for everybody. I really do. Like, we focus so much on how we look. I think sometimes it's we do it at the cost of being healthy. And I want you guys to be healthy first. Focus on how your body is moving as a human, as an athlete, how you get up and down from, your chair and out of bed and off the floor. And when you do play sports, if you play sports, or when you go to, your fitness training, or when you hike, or when you do yoga, or when you swim. And then, how do I feel? Am I tight? Am I stiff? Am I sore? Do I feel strong? Do I feel weak? Do I feel powerful? Like, do I feel fast? Do I feel slow? Ask yourself those things. And then, how do I look? And that's how it can work. And if you're really concerned about it, get more sleep. Try not to stress about all the bullshit that goes on in the world, and eat real food, and do that consistently, and don't abuse drugs and alcohol. And you mix that with proper training, and you have to do all those things, then that's when the look part kind of kicks into play. So hopefully that helps you guys. Again, I'm not judging anybody. I'm not against you doing, do what you want to do with your life. That's America. It's the freedom we have we can do so many things. You can do all the steroids if you want to do all the steroids. You can do all the Ozempic if you want to do the Ozempic. You can dye your hair and your beard, and you can do Botox, and you can do plastic surgery, and you can get breast implants, or you can get your boobs reduced. You can do everything that you want to do, and that's totally fine. But just don't make that be the sole driver of your existence on this planet, and do not let it hold you back from doing things you want to do, and do not let your self-worth be tied up in just what you look like. It's a major piece of who you are. I understand it, but if the whole world was blind, how many people would you impress? And if it's only focused on vanity, it can kind of be an empty place to be. And take that from me, somebody who does this for a living. And with all that said, when you're happy with how you look, and you're happy with how you feel, and you're happy with how you move, life is pretty fucking awesome, man. You're still going to have problems. Trust me. Those three things do not take away all your problems in life. I am here telling you today from personal experience, it just doesn't. You still have hardships and heartache and stress and things go on in your life that you don't want to happen. Things still make you sad, and things still, don't go your way, but it does make life less lifelike, right? Like, it makes, when life lifes you, it makes it a little bit easier when you like how you move, and you like how you feel. And that's my takeaway, man. Just do everything that you're doing from a healthy standpoint, from the inside out. And if you do that consistently enough, I think you'll be happy with what comes on the outside as well. And just understand, man, there's a lot of factors that go into play. I shared on Instagram the other day, just a real quick one, the things that impact your fitness results, and what you look like for that matter. How you sleep is huge. Your genetics is the biggest one, obviously. You can't change who your parents were. That's just life, dude. Your age is a big one. Where your hormones are at, if they're high, if they're low, if they're where they're supposed to be, or from not where they're supposed to be. Your diet, your stress, the intensity at which you train, the consistency at which you train, your injuries, and your overall training time. How long have you been in the game, and how long have you been training this way? And understand it's complex, and you got to give yourself some grace on this journey. It's a lifelong pursuit to get healthy and stay healthy, my friends. It's not enough just to get there, but it's to stay there, and that's what we all want to do, have longevity in this game. And there'll be seasons of life where you crush, and there's going to be seasons of life that crush you. Trust me. I've lived through both. All I can say is you just ride the waves, and you keep doing your best, and you control the things that you can control, and only focus on the things that are within your power and within your reach. And if you do that, you'll be successful. And don't let your fitness steal your fitness. Nothing in life is worth the cost of your peace and your sleep quality at night, and nothing you're pursuing is worth, your happiness and stressing yourself out to the point of where you're becoming unhealthy, chasing a healthy thing. So keep showing up. Trust me, you guys, it's worth it. And doing it from a place of internal health, and then the external stuff, tends to kind of take care of itself. So hopefully that's helpful for some of you guys who deal with the body dysmorphia issues. Just know we've all been through it at some, point or time. At this point in time in my life, I feel pretty good, with where I'm at and how I look and where my body is. And again, it took me, a long time to get here. And so, and a lot of focused work. And I think it's probably the same for many of you. And so if many of you guys are approaching my age, or you're my age, or you're older and you're still not there, this is the time. This is your panic button to get your shit together and appreciate how much work you've put in and where you are at, and keep working healthily to change the things you don't love just yet, but stop putting your life off and stop being your own worst enemy, because it is not worth it, my friends. You got an amazing gift. If you can jump, you can swim, you can walk, you can run, you can hike, you can do awesome things. You got 2 arms and 2 legs, and you got 2 lungs, and you can breathe, and you can do all the things. It's a fucking gift, man. Do not waste it on some vanity bullshit. It is not fucking worth it. I promise you that. Soapbox over. Anything you guys want from me, hit me up. The Substance Nutrition, the Neuro Coffee, the creatine, the protein powder, code JSF in the show notes for 10% off. Hit me up if you got questions on that. I do 5 grams of creatine every day. Super easy, simple. Helps you be more jacked. Get outside, you'll be more tanned. Win-win. If you guys want a free sample of AG1, obviously hit me up. And then if you guys are on the app, I appreciate you guys. If not, you guys get a week for free. Links in the show notes. A bunch of new stuff coming to you before the end of the year. If you're watching on YouTube, I thank you guys as always. Like, share, subscribe. It means the world to us. And if you appreciate this podcast and you know it can help a friend, family member, son, daughter, you name it, and they're okay with swearing, share it with them for sure, because I know it's a huge issue, and a lot of people just... Really, social media has this has always been an issue, but social media has hyped this up and has made it such a huge problem, especially for young kids and young girls, how it's fucked them up and just really made them compare themselves to these unrealistic ideals. I don't think it's a healthy place to be, and it can really warp your mind in a wrong way. And if you do it long enough, I don't know, how easy it is to come back from that. So hopefully this helped you guys. Have an amazing rest of your Wednesday. And until next time, eat well, train hard, be nice to people. And please, you guys, keep doing shit you love with people you enjoy, because your life is too short not to. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.